So by now you may have heard that D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser announced she is adopting a baby. Welcoming a new family member into your life comes with a unique set of challenges. More on that in just a second. But first, Mayor Bowser told our Leslie Foster that her bundle of joy arrived a little sooner than she had expected.
You sit in the seat that I am, you get used to being able to make things happen, and babies have a way of letting you know that they're in control. I'm just really looking forward to being able to pour a lot of love and attention and affection on a baby, and to help the baby grow into just a wonderful Washingtonian.
You are making a statement because there are so many children looking for forever homes, and you have opened up your home in this way.
Well, what I've learned from Washingtonians all over our city is that people start their families in many different ways. And I have been encouraged by many people to make sure that not only do I pour my heart and soul into being mayor, into governing a great city, but also think about a family.
Mayor Bowser welcomed a newborn into her home over the weekend. Now, of course, every family is different with unique sets of challenges. Here to talk a little more about that is Lisa Dominguez. She's a licensed therapist and the director of clinical services for CASE. That's the Center for Adoption Support and Education. Thanks so much for joining us. We heard the mayor just there say that this whole process went quicker than expected. You know, in a traditional family with a pregnancy, you've got 9 months to wait. How much notice does typically someone get if an adoption is finalized and goes through?
It really depends. The process can really vary depending on how people come into the process. Obviously, if sometimes families will foster a child before the adoption process, so sometimes the child will actually be living in their home while they're working on the finalization of the adoption. And other times, if you're adopting internationally or domestically, privately, you get a call and said, you know, can you be at the hospital or can you get on a plane?
So they're
it really
on standby.
Varies. Exactly, you're on standby. So instant parenting sometimes, and so that can be really exciting, but I think also really stressful for families. Whereas
Sure.
With a child coming into a family by birth, you have about 9 months to do some planning.
You know, I know that the adoption process, it can be very long, it can be very cumbersome for these parents that are hoping to get a child. You know, what are the characteristics that we're looking for in potential adoptive parents?
Well, I think adoptive parents, like all parents, want to have a family for lots of different reasons. And I think we know that families can be formed in many, many different ways. We have step families, adoptive families, foster families, biological families. But the commonality is that people want to have a safe, stable, loving home for children, and that's what really draws people to adoption.
And adoptive families, they can face a unique set of challenges.
Sure. I think any new parent can face lots of different challenges, and I think for adoptive families that that can be even broader. There can be a number of different things that families face. Sometimes it can be intrusive comments and questions by very well-meaning friends or family who really want information about the child's story, about the journey. So having to kind of negotiate that and really set some good boundaries.
Do you give them coping mechanisms to deal with that, knowing that it's down the road?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk a lot about really empowering parents and their children, especially as they get older, to feel empowered to really share their story when and if they want to,
right.
And that it's private, and they can sometimes share information and sometimes not. We have a program at CASE called Wise Up, where we really teach tricks and tools for kids and parents of how to deal with intrusive comments and questions.
Now, within the family, when is it right to start having those conversations?
Well, I think from the time you're thinking about forming your family through adoption. I mean, I think you start talking about that and setting those boundaries then. I think whenever a new child comes into the home, you have a lot of well-intentioned friends and family who want to give advice and all of that. And I think sometimes adoptive parenting can be different, especially if you have an older child coming into your home. So people often have advice that might not fit for what's going on with your child, especially if you have a child who has had multiple placements or trauma or is coming from a different country. Some of the traditional things that pediatricians or other family members may suggest might not actually be what we would suggest to adoptive parents as they're bringing their children home.
Some great perspective. We appreciate your time, Lisa Dominguez. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.